Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts, and in today's video we're going to be making this lantern style gift box. Mine has a simple ribbon closure and plenty of space inside for your gifts. You can resize this to suit your needs. This box measures 4 by 4 by 4, so let me show you how I put the project together. For the side panels of the box, I've got two pieces which are the width of A4 by 7.5 inches. Along the A4 width, we're going to score at 4 and 8. Rotate and score at half and 4.5. Rotate so the narrow tab is on the right hand side and make a pencil mark or notch at 6 inches. Take your ruler and stylus, and we're now going to score from the notch that we've just made down to the bottom left and right hand corners of that square. Now what I'm going to do is use a die to create an aperture into the non-triangle section. I can do this because I've got a large die cutting machine. If you don't have a large die cutting machine, what you can do is either cut your aperture by using your craft knife and ruler. Alternatively, if you've got a standard die cutting machine, you could make the box as 4 panels. So whereas this is 1 panel to cover 2 sides, you would have 4 pieces, which would be 4.5 by 7.5. And you would score at 4 and then add your 4 pieces together to create your lantern base. And the reason I'm cutting the apertures now before I do the folding and burnishing is because when I run the piece through the die cutting machine, it does flatten the score line slightly. So I'm going to die cut my apertures into both pieces. I've then got 2 pieces of acetate which are 3.5 inches square, and I'm going to apply these to the back of the apertures using red liner tape. And I'm going to secure these before I burnish because this edge of this frame is quite thin. I'm now going to fold and burnish along the long horizontals and verticals. And I'm going to valley fold along the diagonals of the triangle. And you want to take your time to get these as crisp as you can and as neat as you can at the points, like so. Take your scissors and we're going to cut a wedge from the end, from the left hand end of the long glue tab, cut up the centre score line and cut a wedge into the ends of the tabs either side. Remove the rectangle on the right hand side and shape the glue tabs. I'm going to split the thin tab along the score line like so and just wedge those. Do that on both pieces. We're now going to join the 2 pieces together. I'm going to use my quick grab glue for this. Line up the 2 panels and then join up the piece with the last glue tab. I'm just going to fold over that end panel and then fold over the first panel to complete my box. So we're now going to add on the base, and for this you'll need a piece which is 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm going to add glue onto the tabs, add my base on, and as I'm adding my base I'm going to square off the box. Once you're happy with that, flip the box over and just go in with a burnishing tool and just burnish down the tabs from the inside. So that's our box. And depending on what you're planning on putting in it, if you're putting a candle or something heavier, you might choose to add an additional piece for the base. For the handle, I've got two pieces which are 3 7/8 by 3.5, and along the 3.5 inch side, I'm going to score at 1. I've then got two additional strengthener pieces which are 3 7/8 by 2.5. Fold over and burnish the score lines on the longer pieces. And then I'm going to use my construction glue and adhere the smaller piece to the back of the longer piece. This is obviously optional, depending on what weight cardstock you're using and what you plan on putting in the box. My handles are now dried. I've used a stationer's hole punch to punch my holes for my ribbons, and I've measured in 1 inch from either end and approximately 1/4 inch up. I did punch through the handle and the tab because that was the only way I could get the punch to fit, but I'm not worried about this piece because that's going to be in the inside, so you won't see that. I wanted to create an arc look to the handle, but I didn't have a circle die which was the right size. I've used one of these circle cutters, which I purchased from Amazon. I measured halfway across the handle and then extended this to the length that I wanted to create the arc. I've then reduced the size of the cut and made another arc, which I've then joined up just with my craft knife and ruler. I've done that on both pieces and you can see that they do line up pretty well, so I'm quite happy with that. The only thing left to do is now adhere the handle in. I'm going to have my additional strengthener piece on the inside. I'm going to add construction glue to this surface here and then add it to the first panel. I'm going to line my score line up with the top edge of the box, turn the box around, add in the second handle, and once those are tacked in place, I'm just going to push the two handles towards each other. I've still got time to move those if I need to, but they do line up very nicely. So I'm just going to reopen the box and just push that into place. So that's fundamentally our box. All I need to do now is add my ribbon and decorate. So here's the finished box. You can see I've used ribbon, which I've threaded through the holes as my closure, and I've added a floral spray onto the front and a simple sentiment on the front. Overall, I'm very happy with how this one's come out, and it didn't actually take too long to put together. I hope you've enjoyed the last of my Christmas in July videos. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.